Welcome, friends and viewers, to another CANTV edition of Chicago Corner, where we report on the people and stories across the 77 neighborhoods of Chicago, demonstrating why we are the most interesting and best city in the nation. I have with me this evening community activist Kevin Hobby. Kevin joins us tonight to have a conversation regarding his personal story, as well as an epidemic that plagues us all as it relates to his community activism and service work across the city of Chicago. Kevin's organization is called Support the Brand, Save the Babies, and we'll go a little bit more into what his community activism group does. But I think to get a better perspective on what inspired his founding of that group, we need to know a little bit more about Kevin and his time as a resident here in Chicago. I'm a longtime Chicagoan?
All my life.
All his life, from Auburn Gresham, I understand.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Kevin and I actually had an opportunity to meet at the announcement rally for mayoral candidate Jamal Green, who's also from that neighborhood of the city. And you got an opportunity to speak at this rally regarding the epidemic of gun violence and the plague on young people through our city, our community. Why don't you, to start off, given that that's where I met you, give me and our audience a little bit of, I guess, a little bit of history, what your story was. And I don't mean to suggest that it's in any way like something you can tell briefly, but just for purposes of time, tell us a little bit about your loss and how it kind of put you into community activism and also coming into connection with Jamal and these larger issues that we're all facing regarding gun violence.
Okay. Well, my son was murdered February 28th, 2021. And I reached out to Jamal. So I saw him doing a little community, little things in my neighborhood. He was trying to get the school open that's in my neighborhood that the Lightfoot administration closed.
Let's remind people really quickly, what Jamal was doing was there's a school that's been closed forever.
Yeah.
The property is sitting dormant.
Yeah.
And Jamal has been lobbying to get the city to release the property so that he and his private funding can convert this into a youth center, a youth community center, to offer kids in that neighborhood opportunities to discover what they love doing, training, support, mental health. And of course, as Lori Lightfoot normally does, she just is tone deaf to the larger problem regarding when kids don't have places to go, places to learn, places to get support, when you have no money going into the infrastructure of these neighborhoods, and kids don't have opportunities. We're not condoning the choice as being a logical one, but unfortunately, this is what can lure kids into gang culture. And this wasn't the situation with your son. Your son was caught in the crossfire of that problem.
He was actually out here with his little friends. He was getting ready to go downtown to enjoy the little night. And some guys that was, I don't even understand it. It's not funny, but some guys that was, I guess they was at a party or something next door to his grandmother's house. And they got to talking crazy about a parking spot. They was mad about a parking spot that his friend had pulled up in, and they had got into it, words back and forth. They pulled out their guns, started shooting. My son was trying to save his friend, because I always told him, like, if you go somewhere with your friend, y'all come home together. So I guess, you think your kids don't listen to you, but actuality they do. And he was trying to save his friend, and he shot his friend 10 to 12 times. My son was trying to get up out of there and get him up out of there. He shot him 3 times in the chest. He ran, bled out in the alley in the back. So, it was just a crazy scenario that did not have to happen, but it's just the norm. It's the norm on the south side and the east side and the west side of Chicago. This is the normal. It's just any little minor altercation could turn into something major. And that's because we don't have the resources in our community to deal with certain things. So we only know how to deal with it one way, which is violence. you know.
There's nothing I or anybody can say to help to help alleviate the pain you have from that loss, and I'm not going to try to. All I can say is my condolences. I'm not a parent. I can't even understand, but this is not, sadly, this is not limited to just you, as you said a moment ago. Gun violence and the way to solve these problems just seems to be so prevalent in so many neighborhoods that kids don't know better. Sadly, and we've talked about this on Chicago Corner, you're talking about youths in the community who are growing up in families that this is a generational cycle of poverty, of lack of education, lack of opportunities, and it's very, very easy, sadly, for kids that are trying to solve their problems when they don't have either mental health support or parents who have managed to reason and figure out how to solve problems themselves to teach their kids. It's not everybody. I mean, there are a lot of good parents, and sadly, kids just get mixed up with other bad kids. But yeah, I mean, we're constantly talking about this on the Chicago Corner YouTube show. Every other day, it's another shooting. It's gun violence. It's gang violence. It's people that that are just conditioned to think that this is the way you solve a problem, because we're not attacking the root aspects of what might direct younger people away from those type of choices in regards to offering them the support, opportunities, mental health. I'm working on a documentary with a local filmmaker named Valerie Goodlow, and a big component in this is providing younger kids mental health. In fact, I think J. Mall mentioned that at his mayoral announcement rally, the fact that you start investing more resources, more time into giving kids more access to mental health and making it a part of proactive support. Hopefully, you know, they will learn a little bit better or understand better. When we've got Mayor Lightfoot running off to Europe to get money from the fintech, financial and tech industries to bring money to Chicago, right? All this money from all these financial and tech companies. Yet the amount of money that she's bringing in, we still hear how broke we are. And we see what the budget that's allotted for mental health or support, and it's nothing. It's absolutely nothing. It's obscene when you look at the fact that a leader like that is completely tone deaf. And her reaction, her solutions are reactive. Well, let's throw more money at the police. How's that been going? Instead of actually putting more money that we do have into the communities. But I don't want to filibuster here. I'm aware of I'm aware of what the problems are as we talk about this and how it relates to your loss, starting at the level of kids not served in these communities or supported by the city that will routinely complain, put curfews up, and say, well, that's going to solve the problem. No. You tell us what the problem is. How do you see the problem?
Basically, we in a war.
Yeah.
I don't know whether it's sugar-coated or, try to make it look good. We in a war. And if you don't have the funds and the resources to fight a war, you're going to lose. You know what I mean? It's like with these kids, man, we don't have anything to offer them. All you have to tell them what they're not supposed to be doing, and man, you need to go on and do that. And when they don't even know, you know what I mean? They haven't been trained to do nothing. They haven't been, haven't had access to any type of programs or anything that could help them get about this situation, and that's what my organization is trying to do. Get these kids some resources, get the parents some resources, because as a parent, I know I need therapy myself, but it's not available to us, or it costs so much. We in here trying to feed the kids and
Rahm Emanuel will shut down how many mental health clinics that, he should have been shutting them down. He should have been adding more. And sadly, they've talked about adding more, but when they've got other ones that are reopened, we need more in addition to reopening the ones that were closed.
Facts. But, got Lori in there, Lori Lightfoot. She just continued on that process of, and just shut them down, and we put all our money up north and downtown and all, but that's not where the problem is.
That's what the tourism is.
Yeah, that's
the tourism's downtown, don't you know? We have to put more money into the Bean and security down there. So I voted for Lightfoot, and I have buyer's remorse. How did you? I mean, we all know this now, right? She ran as a progressive. She ran as a reformer. She ran on her identity as a woman of color who's a lesbian. It's like, great. That means that you should be more in touch with the issues of lesser served factions, people that we normally see cast aside, and she hasn't. She's just completely embraced the neoliberal agenda of the Democratic Party. Did you sense ahead of time that Lightfoot was going to fool us, or how did you see her candidacy originally that's manifested in all these problems now?
It's crazy. I was actually working for Tony Prinkwinkle at the time of the election. And, you know, I was listening to him and everything. She fooled me. You know what I'm saying? Politicians are very resourceful with their words, and they know how to trick people and get them into a box. And she did, you know, like the rest of them does. But, you know, you can only have for so long, you know what I mean? Before your little true colors come out. You're going to be forced to tell the truth about yourself. And everything that's going on in the city right now, and, you know, the recession we in, you know, the food shortages, everything is you're just going to come out of you eventually. And that's what it did, man. It just came. And she tricked a lot of people in Chicago, man. And I hope they see that she's not what we need moving forward in this city to get back to where we need to be.
So let me take us back a moment also. You lost your son.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have the resources to cope and deal with this. This inspires you to form your group, support the brand, save the babies. How did you go about creating the foundation organization? How would you define it? Support group?
Well, it was really just me and my brother. Right after my son got killed, we had already had this in the process. You know, we was just taking it slow because it wasn't you know, because we wanted to do it right. But once my son was killed, we just went full-fledged into it, not knowing, you know, we knew we was doing something good, so we knew it was going to always work, you know. So it was just really just me and my brother getting out here, putting our feet to the pavement, getting people involved, networking with certain people like yourself and J Mall, and, you know, so we could get it off the ground. You know, we doing the best we can, but, you know, we need help.
So where do you need, what support services do you want to align with, and where do you need the help to make that happen?
We really basically want to focus on these kids and the mental health issues that that parents need. But the parents that lost children, parents that have children incarcerated, you know, it's so many avenues that we need to touch on. But
You think giving parents the tools also?
Giving parents the tools
because a lot of, again, when we talk about it's a generational issue, a lot of parents went through the same kind of traumas that their kids are going through because the parents are conditioned by what they went through and sadly don't know better. I mean, some might, not all do. And there's no judgment or shame in that. You know, it's just, it happens.
Yeah, you don't do nothing but pass it on. If you don't get this problem fixed, you're going to do nothing but pass it on and pass it on and pass it on. Then it's going to get too big to fix. This is going to be the norm. You know what I'm saying? And that's what we're trying not to happen. For this to be the norm in our city, because it's ridiculous, man.
So are there mental health groups that you are aligning with, or is this a call to action to the city?
It's a call to action to the city.
So have you...
We by ourselves, we really don't know. We just parents that knew we had to do something, so we just doing the best we can out here, and we trying to reach out to anybody that could help us, you know. And
have you had any response from the city, or do you attend their, I don't know, events, press conferences? How do you get them to pay attention to what's needed? Or do you know?
I know, but it's crazy how we have to do it. We have to start disrupting. See, they don't listen. They'll let you talk and march and sing and lollygag all day until you start disrupting,
like J Mall
their
did,
business. And that's
making his statement on the roof of the school.
That's
instead
why
of saying,
we with him.
Yeah, here, J Mall, have the property. No, they sent police in the middle of the night so nobody could see. I mean, it looked like a SWAT operation, like there was a terrorist on the roof.
They did.
And he was just trying to get the city's attention, like, hey, we're at this school that's got no lighting at night where crime happens. Why not repurpose it for a better use?
Man, she sent so many police over there that night, helicopters, everything.
She needed to teach him a lesson. And hopefully he's going to teach her one.
That's definitely right.
Running and getting more attention for his
we,
candidacy and platform.
You already know, because once they came over there, we told them, like, he over here with us.
Yeah.
See, where I'm from, we like family. So you come over there, you family, we're going to protect you at all costs. That's what we had to tell them, like, man, y'all not finna touch him. You know, he's out here trying to throw a peaceful rally, trying to help. Nobody ever came over to my neighborhood and tried to help us. You know what I'm saying? And he was the first one, so we most definitely not going to let anything happen to him from anybody. And, you know, it was a standoff. We had a standoff with the police. Like I said, they sent the helicopters over there. They sent so many, man, you'd have thought, you'd have thought we was over there committing all type of atrocities. No. But, you know.
The thing that impresses me most about Jamal and his candidacy is that, as you said, he's on the ground. He's a member of the community. He's doing things.
Mm-hmm.
What impressed me about one of his business efforts was this My Turn to Own program, to be able to present low-cost, affordable mortgages, which some have said, oh, this is what did they call it? The mortgage, some kind of a mortgage scam. It's not.
Right.
But people want to be able to try to marginalize him. And there are some experienced politics who claim, well, he's too young, he doesn't have enough experience, to which I would say, well, for all the experience most of our senior politicians have, how's that going for us? Right? Yeah, I mean, it's there are no problems solved, yet they want to marginalize people with new ideas who are actually boots on the ground in the communities helping.
Right.
And, you know, he's a disruptor, right? Well, at a certain point, I think it was Kennedy who said, when you make peaceful protest impossible, you make violent revolution inevitable. I'm not advocating for violent revolution, but this is the reason so many people like yourself are it's got to be disruptive to get attention, and people cannot dismiss that as being disruptive. It's like, if you've got to be disruptive, it's because you're not being heard. You're not being paid attention to. So you met Jamal as a result of what was happening at that. So you shared your organization's group and mission with him, and now you're aligned with him. And,
yes, sir.
And what did you talk about for those that didn't see Jamal's announcement at the rally as it relates to your work, your advocacy, and your activism?
Yeah, you know, well, mostly my organization, we dealing with the violence. You know, we with everything else, but mainly it's the violence and the children, because we ain't gonna have nothing without the children, and this is gonna be extinct in a minute. If we don't have the children, what you gonna do? So basically, he lets me talk about the violence. He lets me talk about, from a parent's perspective, that's lost a child, what it's like to go through that every day, what it's like to see your child in a casket. You know, brought out, like the last time I saw my son, he was being, other than the funeral, was him being carted out the alley in a body bag. You know what I mean? So, you know, it's
cautionary
real.
tales to get people to start paying attention so they don't go through the same tragedy.
Yes, and we most definitely need help. We got to help each other. If we don't help each other, it's a losing battle. We don't get people like Jamal in office and let him do his thing, because he's from there.
Yeah.
You know, you can't have if you're not from there, what you gonna do? It's not gonna be a priority to you, because you have been affected by that. And so, you know, that's why we align with Jamal in the Green campaign, and, you know, because he understands how it feels to be in that position. You know what I'm saying? He understands how it feels to grow up in these neighborhoods where don't nobody care about you unless something's happening.
Or unless
somebody's
you're connected, or there's a business opportunity for the mayor or for any of the aldermen.
It's not about what you know, it's who you know.
We are the most segregated and probably also the most corrupt city in the nation.
Yes.
As much as our neighborhoods are great and the people here are great, for those who might be watching from other cities, this is what we're dealing with. And this is what we're combating. And this is what we're always talking about on our YouTube channel, Chicago Corner, and here on the CANTV Chicago Corner show, trying to bring people together to like really highlight and spotlight these issues and bring them to the forefront. So more people can talk about it, take action, start voting. Our voter turnout was abysmal during the last election, and nothing's going to change. I don't want to say voting harder is going to change anything. It's trying to find and support the candidates that really reflect your values. And I personally, Jamal really reflects my values. And I'm not here campaigning for him, but of all the candidates that have emerged so far, I'm really very, very impressed by this young man and what he's proposing. And I'm hoping the rest of the media will give him a shot as he's aligning himself with issues of people in the community like yourself who've gone through these terrible types of losses that are not being properly addressed at a root level.
It's crazy. You know, people, I guess it's just human nature. People don't really care unless it happens to them.
Yes.
You know, so.
We talked about this on the Chicago Corner show on YouTube two weeks ago, the tragedy in Highland Park, which was horrifying, right? It got all the media attention it deserved. But here in the neighborhoods of Chicago, it's just like it's another day, right? When it happens in a affluent community with well-trained police, I mean, I do think that the Highland Park police really handled that matter very well. But here in Chicago, you lost your son, and they still haven't solved the crime.
Nothing.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Double homicide. It's actually a double homicide. Because my son's friend, he actually died a few months later. He survived his little, but it was just too much for his little.
It's not a priority for the police department.
It's not a priority. It's not a
and
priority
it has to be
at
all across
the
city.
They don't care. Communities. They don't care. You get the south side, the east side, and the west side. It's okay. You do something downtown or up north.
Yeah.
Oh, they'll solve that crime in 2 days.
Of course.
2 days. But let you get killed on 63rd and Halsted, 84th and Vincennes, you know, in these predominantly black neighborhoods, you know, poor neighborhoods. They don't care. They don't care. I call and ask them, oh, we still investigating. Man, y'all ain't not investigating nothing. They don't tell you. My son's murder was caught on tape. You know what I'm saying? He got the videotape. We about solved the murder that night, you know, and we gave the police all the information and still nothing. But, you know, that's just the way this world is. And if we don't come together, all of us, black, brown, white, all of us, because sooner or later it's going to affect everybody.
This is interesting you say that, because as we saw, it affected a white community in Highland Park. This documentary I'm working on, not to keep talking about it, but it directly relates to what we're talking about here. The first episode is It Will Happen to You. You don't think it will when it comes to gun violence, but it will. And we're talking about, interestingly enough, it's funny, I'm doing that side work and I'm also having a guest like yourself. It's all related. It's affecting everybody, the gun violence problems. I mean, we could go like another 27 minutes or more on the gun violence issue as it affects everybody and, you know, spills over into gang violence and just gun culture that's gone crazy here in the United States. But we don't have that amount of time, unfortunately. So do you have a website, or how do people get in touch with you for Support the Brand, Save the Baby, so they can hopefully, I don't know, do you look for financial support, alignment with other organizations?
Any type of help. Any help we could get. We trying to, like I said, it's just me and my brother. So, you know, certain things we don't know about these websites and everything. So we just trying to get into them.
You don't have a website yet?
Don't have a website.
Okay, so we need to, we'll talk after the show. We need to get a website up.
Appreciate that.
Where people can connect with you and provide the financial resources, is hopefully maybe the contacts with other organizations that have the infrastructure to support what your efforts are here in the city.
We're most definitely trying to link up with anybody and everybody that want to make this city better.
So is it just you and your brother? You guys are going to public events, sharing your stories, providing support for other parents, or how do you, okay.
We're trying to do, really into mentoring these kids.
Mentoring kids, okay.
We're really into mentoring and the mental health aspect. You know, so I think once we get that mental health together, everything else will roll down the hill, because you'll be able to figure out and understand when you put in certain situations how to deal with it. Every situation doesn't need a reaction. So, you know, we got to get in and get our minds together. Once our minds together, our body's going to fall. So once we get that together, we'll be all right. We need as much help as we can from the city and whoever just want to help, whoever cares about the kids in this city and see where it's going. We welcome you. We come to you. We'll help you. Whatever we can do to help you, we'll do it. But it has to be taken care of.
Well, the first step is certainly the value you and your brother would provide attending events or speaking at public events to
Right.
share what's happened to you and what's happened to so many other parents, families all across the city. Anything coming up soon that you can share with our viewers, any public appearances as we kind of wind up the end of the show here?
Basically, we just trying to get into this election thing and get J. Maul in this office. We doing a back to school program for the kids we do every year for them. This is way before anything happened to my son or whatever.
Cool.
But we have been doing this back to school program on 84th and Vincennes. You know, we give away food, book bags, games and stuff for the kids. It's just, something to do for the neighborhood. So that's what we got coming up later this month. Later next month. It's month's August. So yeah, later
Well, we got to figure out how to harness the power of social media
Facts,
to support what you guys are doing, along with your
Facts.
alignment with J. Maul's campaign.
Facts. That's why I
Listen,
appreciate you guys.
We appreciate you too, and thank you for coming on Kira's show last Tuesday and joining me here. And I think we're going to be hearing from you more on our YouTube Chicago Corner show, which I hope you will all tune into. We're on YouTube at Chicago Corner Tuesdays and Fridays. Kira McCown hosts Tuesday nights. I host on Fridays. Kevin, I want to thank you so much for coming on, sharing your story, sharing your activism, what you're doing, hopefully inspiring other people across the city to recognize this epidemic we're dealing with and how it impacts everyone's, or has the potential to impact everyone's families. Please join us again for our next episode. Tune in with us on Tuesdays and Fridays on Chicago Corner on YouTube. Like and subscribe us. Thanks for joining us for tonight's show, and we look forward to seeing you again next time here on Chicago Corner.
The views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent. If you would like to be a guest on Chicago Corner, please email our host, Jerry, at chicagocorner.tv.